quick, and the pocket size also is quite small. So I'm starting like feeling more comfortable now.
So David Alcaide starts us off. But not great on the one here, Josh.
Yeah, well, I think he just didn't hit the one ball square enough. So that's why the cue ball just starts going to the right side. And yeah, now I think he has to go for a safety shot here. That's an unbelievable matchup here. David Alcaide and Jayson, former Moscone Cup players.
Yeah, perhaps...
wow, he hit that brilliant. What a shot.
Yeah, excellent shot. And you mentioned the Moscone Cup there. They were two of the real standout stars of that win. But it was you who still got to deliver the winning point. I loved your celebration at the end at Alexandra Palace. We always get a big celebration like that from you at the big moments in your career.
Yeah, well, making the last 9-ball is always a special moment. But Jayson played before me, and I was just hoping for him to win win that match against Skylar. But then all of a sudden, Skylar played unbelievable shots, and then the break wasn't working for Jayson. And then when it was like 4-2 or something, I just told myself, now it's time for me playing Shane again, and I just felt so confident, and the match was unbelievable as well. And now on table 2, Oliver Cholnoky against Kazakis, just starting.
Yep, we'll keep a close eye on that one as well. That's the last match of the early session on that table.
So, I think David is quite confident now with the ball in hand, starting the match. And the layout is quite good for him too. It's just about to get the nice to the 5 and then get a good shape for the 7. But as I said earlier, the tables are quite quick, so sometimes you get out of position, and then all of a sudden you miss an easy ball, which you normally wouldn't miss because you struggle a bit.
And anything from distance played at a bit of pace just seems so much more difficult with these tighter pockets.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you need to focus on making the putt first. And then, of course, when you just not have the feel for the table, it makes so difficult. So I also have missed a couple of balls which I normally wouldn't miss, but you have to also look for the position sometimes. But making the putt first is more important, actually.
Jayson Shaw was MVP for the second year in a row at the Moscone. David Alcaide pushed him very hard, though. Apart from the opening team match, he won all 4 of the matches he was involved in. And although you delivered the winning point, Josh, I think the one moment most people are going to remember from the Moscone is that extraordinary finish to his match against Jeremy Jones on the Thursday night with the time foul. And really, from that position, it was always unlikely the Americans were going to be able to turn it around on the Friday.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest moments, but in my opinion, the biggest moment was actually the day before when Chris Robinson missed the 5-ball, because if he wouldn't miss that 5-ball, we would have been down 6-3, I think, and that would be a different story. But of course, but the time foul with Jeremy was also outstanding.
Yeah, a number of players actually have mentioned the moment that you have just referred to and identified that as the significant moment. So, although it wasn't one of the closest Moscone Cups, you think of all those stories and incidents, it was one of the most intriguing we've had.
Yeah, I still think if Chris would have made the 5-ball, they might have won, because 6-3 is a big lead in a race to 5 sets.
Anyway, the Moscone story will move on to Las Vegas later this year. I'm sure you'll be very keen to be part of that once again. And we'll see how the race for those places unfolds with the new world ranking system, of course, now part of that. So many tournaments to come to decide who's on those teams.
Yeah, that's going to be a great year with so many events. Metrum is putting up the UK Open, then the European Open in Germany. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, but crazy in a really, really good way, isn't it? I mean, you think of 2020 and COVID, you guys hardly got to take the queue out at all. Just amazing now to be in this position 2 years later when you're going to be busier than ever this year.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, playing all these events it's just a dream for a pro player, to be honest. And now the big opportunity for Jayson.
Yeah, not only has he won all 3 of his matches, he's been pretty comfortable 5-2 is the closest it's been in any of them. It's only lost a total of 5 racks across the 3 matches. I think it was a fairly quiet year for him, wasn't it, last year, apart from the Moscone, obviously, which really brought out the best in him. But you sense we're going to see much more of the real Jayson Shaw in 22. So we're certainly seeing a good start from him here. Okay,
yeah,
he
will
had the
take
break.
First blood, 1-0.
Yep, and as and for the likes of Jayson Shaw, who leads 1-0 and is breaking in the second rack.
Yes, also quite huge when you lose the leg and then win the first rack and have your own break. So now you're looking forward to make this 2-0 lead. And he hit it quite well, but the cue ball got kissed away, and now, yeah, he's hooked. So we will see a push out here, that's for sure.
Yeah, needed a bit of good fortune, didn't have it. I've got to ask you this, Josh, while you're in the box. Your wife, Pia, is here with you again, and she's a very accomplished player. She was in a big final in America quite recently. Do you ever play each other?
You mean in a big tournament?
Oh, no. I mean, do you just practice together? Or you do?
Yeah.
Would that be a regular thing?
Yeah, we just played sets against each other, and then sometimes we film it and then analyze to see what we both can just improve, and then, yeah, we just talk about it.
Push out pole. Mr. Alcaide, your option.
Is it hard when it's just normal life not to find yourself talking about pool all the time? Or are you able to switch off from it when the cue goes away?
No, actually, this is actually our dream. Just talk about pool all the time, and then, I don't know, going to the cinema, watching movies, playing PlayStation. So our life is quite similar. I mean, the same lifestyle we have.
So you've got a nice balance there between on table and off table. Very good.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky having Pia.
Well, she's such an amazing support to you. She's just kind of a calm presence there, but also so much in your corner when she comes to all these events.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but unfortunately she sometimes cannot play the events she wants to play because it's clashing with my events. So, but this year she will play a few more. That's for sure. So I think now he's playing the kick, trying to hit the 2-ball on the right side and get the cue ball back to the bottom rail behind the 9 somewhere. Hit it quite full, almost make the 2-ball. But doesn't leave a easy shot for David. Wow, great shot. Great shot.
And look at this on the 3. One of the best shots we've seen all day.
Yeah. It's not so easy to execute that one. Because you jacked up and then make the ball with the perfect speed for the 3-ball. Of course, if you wouldn't miss that ball, he might have hooked Jayson. Kind of a two-way shot. Wow, another great shot. this is supposed to be the 1-1. Then Alcaide is back with his break.
Yeah, he had a pretty good year in 2021. The only title he won was a 10-ball event, actually, in Turkey, but he was runner-up here. He got to the semi-finals of the World Championship, last 16 of the US Open. Did well in a couple of the Euro Tour events. So very consistent, really, throughout the year. Was defending at the World Masters, but lost his opening match quite comfortably, in fact, to Skylar Woodward. And great for him to get back into the Moscone Cup team. It's remarkable. He's played in it 3 times, and they've all been so far apart, his Moscone appearances.
Yeah, and 2 of them I played with David together. We played in 2017 in Vegas, and the recent one in London. And he's such a great guy, nice team player. Always fun with him, spending time.
Never been on a losing Moscone Cup team in those 3 appearances. His first, of course, was in the 1 tied match in Rotterdam back in 2006. And speaking of tied matches, this one now is surely going 1-all. So level in the early stages here. Still relatively early stages also in the league, but let's have a look at how it all stands. It's going to make pleasant viewing for you, Josh. You're up there with Albin at the top.
Yeah.
5 wins out of 5. It's amazing, isn't it? You look at the names there. Ocean, Filler, Shaw, Van Boning. These are the big names. And already at this early stage, they've found their way near the top. So even over the short format, the best players are coming through, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, still in the race to 5. But when you see in the longer races, even though the first player who gets to 5 is winning probably also in the longer race.
See Kazakis and Sholnocki, they're both on 2 wins out of 4. They're in action at the moment over on the other table. Let's have a look now at the bottom half. Now you see Fortunsky and Lechner both still looking for their first win. Yap has only got 1 win on the board from 6. And the surprising name to see down there is Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Only 1 win from 4 when you consider the form he's been in the last few months.
Yeah, I played him in the Derby City Classics final where he beat me 9-3. He played a great match. He was breaking well, and I had 2, unfortunately, mistakes. But it happens. He played great and deserved the win for sure. But as I said, in race to 5, it's not easy, especially when you have 16 top players.
And in this race to 5, it's 1-all as Alcaide breaks off in rack 3.
Oh, he hit it great again, actually. Quite square this time, but doesn't get in reward.
Another look at it there. And the 1 ball just ran out of pace to stop him being on it.
Yeah, looks like he's just playing the 1 ball over the long rail to the short rail behind the 9 and 7. Try to cover it. Yeah.
You mentioned the Derby City Classic there, Josh. Now, we've got these big matchroom arena events. We looked at the calendar there. Then there's that sort of second string events like that you guys are all going over and playing in. But even below that, you've got events going on almost every weekend with just a few $1,000s first prize. And you all just seem to want to be playing all the time. And even the very best players in the world don't regard themselves as too grand to play in anything at all. You just want a full schedule.
Yeah, you just want to play. I mean, of course, sometimes the prize money is not as huge as, for example, the US Open or World Nineball or whatever. But to be honest, I just want to play events. That's my goal, and I want to win events, be the best.
Meanwhile, we've seen the cue ball fly into the side pocket there, stopping Jayson Shaw in his tracks and giving Alcaide a decent opportunity here.
Yeah, ball in hand for David. Having the big chance to go 2-1 up.
And it's really relevant here. The thing I would say about Alcaide is he tends to do the simple things well. He doesn't seem to make a lot of unexpected errors.
Yeah, he just keeps it simple. I mean, this is actually what you try to do. Especially on a brand new club where everything is slidey and hard to judge. But just keep it simple. Just don't let the cue ball rolling a lot, like maybe just 1 rail less than as you would usually do. So now he takes his extension just to make sure where you want to go with the cue ball. think landing on the left side on the 5 is actually the smartest move, and then you go over the short long rail, playing the 7 in the bottom left corner. And look at that. Oh my god.
Oh, he almost went in the other side. I've seen it all in this rack.
Wow. He got lucky there, that's for sure.
I've got to ask you as well, just as we were talking about the Moscone Cup, a fairly established group now. I mean, there was only one change to the team this year from the team that had won it the year before. But the great thing from a European point of view is you look at guys like Kazakis and Shalnoki, who are playing on the other table, Fortunsky, guys like that. They're all there nipping at your heels, desperate to get one of those 5 places. And that's great for everyone, isn't it, to have that competition, to be on the team?
Yeah, I mean, even though when we play the Euro Tour, all these players are competing in there. And you play every time against these guys, especially when you're in the last 32 or something. They're all there. And every match race to 9 is so close, and you have to sweat every match. And of course, it's good practice when you play on the international events. And you're just in good form when you beat them. Yeah, looks quite confident. The cue ball is perfect on the 8.
Yeah, it looked like a fairly routine chance when he came to the table. And as we said, David Alcaide tends to do the simple things very well. That's what's happened here. Alcaide leads Jayson Shaw by 2 racks to 1. A real heavyweight showdown to round off the early session on day 2 of the Predator Premier League here in Milton Keynes. And it's Jayson Shaw, MVP at the last 2 Moscone Cups, 2-1 down against David Alcaide as Shaw breaks off in the 4th rack.
No shot on this one ball. There you can see it's the middle point. Goes back over to the opposite side of the table and sits on the rail. And then the 2 ball gets kissed in the way. So he's got to play a push out. And after that push out, he's got to make sure he doesn't leave a real easy, obvious safety, which doesn't look like that is achievable. But it also doesn't look like he can sort of make it 50-50. So a little tricky position here. So he's pushing up to the top right hand side of the table.
Mr. Alcaide, your option.
Just news from the other table. Alex Kazakis 3-0 up on Oliver Szolnoki. I think if you were to win in or around half of your matches, you'd be pretty much guaranteed to get through to the next phase. Well, both of those guys have won exactly half of their matches so far. They're both on 2 wins out of 4. So both need a win to avoid falling below the 50%, as it were. Kazakis is in play in rack 4. Szolnoki's had a dry break, and Kazakis has a look at the 1. So all going well for the man from Greece, current World Masters champion.
Extension, please.
Not surprised one bit that David's put Jayson back. Just doesn't look like a real obvious safety. He might try and go real first. He's trying to hit it thin and come over. Needs a little bit of luck. Yeah, I mean, there was a bit of sense in that shot selection, what he's tried. He always knew the 1 ball was going to stay on that rail. Didn't really know where the cue ball was going to end up, but that's okay.
Just over on the other table, Kazakis has just missed what looked anyway like a really simple 2-5 combination from very short range. Maybe a glimmer of hope for Szolnoki there.
Restart the clock, please. No. Restart the clock.
I can only think when he's jumping this 1 ball, he's just trying to put the 1 up the top end of the table on the top rail. He's hit it a little bit thin, that's why it's not going to end up there. But I think the blue 2 and the 8 ball has come to the rescue, because even if Jayson could pot this, which I don't think he can, he's obviously got awkward cueing over that 8 ball. Safety doesn't look too clever either, because he can't play off the left side of the 1. It looks like the cue ball's going to hit the green 6. Yeah, so this is actually a clever shot again. Obviously he's not quite sure where this 1's going to go. That was all about splitting the distance. David's faced with a nice shot here. He's going to play it off the side rail. Even if he can't hit exactly where he needs to, he's got a big enough gap where he can play it a little bit of a swerve. So he's aiming down with right and English, so there's a little bit of a swerve off the rail, and at this level you're always favourite to pot that ball.
He'll definitely settle for where he's finished on the 2. But what are his options then, Carl, in terms of how he deals with the 3?
Very tricky.
Is he looking at some sort of combination here?
No, I don't believe he's looking at combo. The 4 don't like it goes anywhere. He's just trying to leave distance. Hopefully getting behind the 6. It's a little bit shy of pace, but overall he's going to be fairly happy with that. He actually played the 3
No, sir.
off the 4, so it went a bit lower down towards the rail. I think Jayson's just going to try and bank this 3 ball over to the right hand side of the table. Just to, that's what we call a containing safety, just to buy himself a little bit more time. Jayson's trying to rely on a little bit of lady luck, and it's not happened. David can pot this in the side, and I think he can avoid the 8-ball to get a shot on the pink 4.
Big moments these. Chance to open a 3-1 lead, and he'll be breaking in the next rack. These two, as we were saying, were Europe's 2 standout performers in the Moscone Cup win just before Christmas in North London. It ended up being a tussle between them, really, for the MVP. They actually played together in the last match of the opening night against Skylar Woodward and Jeremy Jones, and won by 5 racks to 0. Which Europe needed to avoid going into the second day behind. And when Jayson Shaw has played his 3 previous matches, nobody's managed to take more than 2 racks against him. So David Alcaide has already bettered what any of Shaw's previous opponents have managed. He now leads 3-1. And it's the same score on the other table, in favour of the man who replaced David Alcaide as World Masters champion last year. That's Alex Kazakis. Was 3-0 up against Oliver Szolnoki. The young man from Hungary has got on the board now.
Extension code.
Whoever wins this will be on 3 wins out of 5, which would be more than satisfactory. The loser will have 2 wins from 5. Szolnoki got off to a flyer yesterday. Played 2 back-to-back matches early in the day against Omar Al-Shaheen and Max Lechner. Won them both. But completely different story in the evening. He played Jayson Shaw and Alban Ocean and lost to both of them. So facing the prospect of a 3rd straight defeat here. And back here, David Alcaide in a fine position. 3-1 up against Jayson Shaw, and he's got the break.
Mr. Alcaide to break.
Yeah, he's been breaking pretty good this set. Just pay attention to the black 8-ball. That's to the left of the rack. Obviously doesn't go in the pocket because I mentioned it.
Yeah, went close though.
This is not an easy combo. If he's trying to attempt playing the yellow 1 onto the pink 4, there's distance between both balls, and the 4-ball is quite far away from the pocket, so that is not going to be easy. I'm not saying he's going to attempt it. He's just had a look. He knows, doesn't he? He knows that's not easy.
Yeah, but you can also see he's itching to play it. He wants to keep that forward momentum going. I think if he did take this on and made it, it would be the best combination perhaps we've seen so far in this tournament. For all the reasons you've just outlined, Carl.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going for it, does it? He's going to try and hide him behind the 4. Don't blame him one bit. It's a smart shot. Keep the pressure on your opponent.
Exactly. You could see he wanted to play it, but he showed a lot of patience there. Alex Kazakis has just gone 4-1 up on Oliver Szolnoki on the other table.
Extension, please.
Nineball went dangerously close there.
Yeah, he would have known the cue ball was going towards the 9 as well. So there was a half attempt at it, and it wasn't far away when you look at that again.
Would have been some way to start trying to turn this match around. And the outcome he's got isn't too bad either.
This is another one of them type of shots where you're going to go off the rail and try and pot it up the rail. You're going to try and hit just before the middle pocket. He'll play it with a little bit of left English. Not much, just a little bit. And he's going to try and pot the 1 in the top right pocket. If he does, after that, he might be tempted to play the 3 onto the 9. Let's just see. Oh, he's missed it by a long way. Absolute mile away, David. Wrong side of the ball.
He looked absolutely disgusted with himself.
And so he should be.
As vice-captain, you would have been down on him like a ton of bricks if he'd played that in the Moscone Cup.
Shocking shot, that, honestly. Wrong side of the ball at this level.
Yeah, that wasn't easy, though, what he left.
No, the thing with that type of shot, when you're trying to strike down because you need to stop the cue ball, if you don't pot the ball, it always flies around the table, so it actually looks worse than it is. It's a really tough shot.
So despite playing the shot that disappointed Carl so much, could end up working to Alcaide's advantage. We were talking earlier with Josh Filler about how Alcaide tends to do the routine things quite well. Doesn't pass up many good opportunities. And the opportunity he looks to be eyeing up here is a 5-9 combo. He's given himself the chance to play it. Bit of distance between the balls, though.
Had to draw the cue ball back full length of the table to make this a lot easier than what it could have been if he didn't get the cue ball there. So his favourite to make this.
And that is 4 in a row. David Alcaide lost the opening rack, but he's won them all since then, and he's on the hill. David Alcaide leads Jayson Shaw. Shawnockie just starting to look a bit frustrated. It's a big deal for him being in this. Really made huge strides forward last year. Well, he looks thoroughly fed up at the moment.
Purposely playing thin off the 4 to use that cluster of 3 balls to hook his opponent. It was a nice shot.
You can see it in this format, just as players can get momentum behind them and win match after match. Once you start to lose a few, it's very easy to get into a rut, get into a losing habit. And that's the danger for Shawnockie here. He's been beaten 5-2 in both of his last 2 matches. Could be heading for something similar here. Particularly when you're new in this sort of company. It can be hard to put behind you. But back now to a couple of players who are very comfortable at this level. Particularly so David Alcaide at this moment in time, because he's on the hill, but it's Jayson Shaw with the break.
Now, he did lose the cue ball. He's not trying to draw the cue ball off the side rail near that corner. But in this instance, he does have a shot on the one. Now, it might not have a full pocket, but it does go off the far jaw. Needs this cue ball to slow down. Needs it to slow down. It's going a little bit near the 5. And it's landed a bit in between, so he might actually change his plan and play it in the same pocket he should have played the 1 ball in.
Alex Kazakis has just thrown his cue on the table in disgust. He's shaking his head now in his chair. He scratched on the 4 in rack 6 against Oliver Shalnoki, and he's given the young man from Hungary ball in hand, and looks for all the world like it's going 4-2 there. That's what Jayson Shaw is trying to achieve here. Alcaide's still got potentially 2 more breaking racks in this match to get the 1 more that he needs. So Shaw knows he's still a big outsider here, but he's done all he can in this rack. Now he needs Alcaide to slip up in the next one. Jayson Shaw, having lost 4 in a row, has at least stopped the rot. But he's still in big danger of defeat here at 4-2 down. Down to the last match of the early session on both tables on day 2 of the Predator Premier League here in Milton Keynes, and 2 matches have largely been going in sync with each other, and they've both arrived at 4-2 at the same moment. Alex Kazakis on the hill against Oliver Shalnoki. David Alcaide here against Jayson Shaw. And he's got the break.
Yeah, and that kiss on the cue ball from the 1 has give David his chance to beat his Moscone Cup teammate and collect the point. And you see he's got an open shot of this one, 3 balls over the other pocket. That's his next ball because he's potted the 2 ball off the break. And it has to be said, it's not a bad chance. This 6 ball to the 7 is going to be a little bit of an issue. And maybe the 7 to the 8 because he would have to land on the side rail. So it's not quite over this rack. There's a little bit of hope for Shaw fans. Well, that was nice. What he's done there is he's drawn the cue ball back to nudge the 8 over the side pocket. So that takes care of that issue. So now this is all about the green 6 to the brown 7. That's 4 shots, 3 or 4 shots ahead, I'm thinking. But he will be as well.
Looks like they're in the final moments on the other table. Alex Kazakis was 3-0 up in this match. Oliver Szolnocki did offer a bit of late resistance. But Kazakis is going to get the job done here and move on to 3 wins out of 5. Mixed morning for him. He lost earlier to Alban Ocean.
Extension code.
Yeah, just seems to be finding it a little difficult to get comfortable on this shot. He's still got the extension, so might as well use it. Give himself a bit of breathing space. And job done. That could be an important win for Kazakis. These are 2 players who you feel might be in or around the bubble, have been in that top 10.
Looks like David's landed absolutely perfect just to stun over for this 7. Couldn't have put that better with his hand on the 6th ball.
6 to the 7, Alcaide in heaven. And he needs 3 more balls to complete what will be a really good victory. It would leave him on 4 wins out of 5, and he'd be the first player to defeat Jayson Shaw.
Couple of ways of playing this shot. He'll play it really thin and play the cue ball off 3 rails. That seems the sensible option. There you go, just leave yourself a shot on the 9 and you're good to go.
Yeah, that was the last thing that could even possibly have gone wrong. They teamed up to great effect as doubles partners on the opening night of the Moscone Cup back in December. But here today, it's been all about David Alcaide. A fine win for him over Jayson Shaw. He wins by 5 racks to 2. Shaw's 100% start is over. So there we go. Play finishing pretty much the exact same time on both tables at the end of an absorbing session here. And it all ends like this. Alban Ocean and Joshua Filler, both with 5 wins out of 5, leading the way. David Alcaide now just behind them with 4 wins from his 5 matches. The only other 100% player now, Shane Van Boning. He's only played 3 though, as opposed to the 5 that Ocean and Filler have had. And you see there what an important win that could prove to have been for Kazakis. Puts him in good shape now. Still so many matches to go before we find out who the 10 through to the next phase are going to be.